A deal undone. The collapse of Trump-Zelensky negotiations. On February 28, 2025, the Oval Office bore witness to a clash of personalities and political agendas. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with U.S. President Donald Trump. The meeting's goal was to finalize a significant minerals deal. This deal, proposed by Zelensky, aimed to aid Ukraine's reconstruction. It also promised economic security for the war-torn nation. However, the meeting took a turn for the worse, ultimately collapsing. The proposed deal, encouraged by Senator Graham, was set to be a win-win. It promised resources for the U.S. and economic recovery for Ukraine. A key point of contention arose regarding a clause limiting the deal's value. Ukraine requested the removal of this cap, a move that would later become a point of contention. The atmosphere in the Oval Office was tense. Trump, alongside Vice President J.D. Vance, adopted an aggressive line of questioning. They challenged Zelensky's trust in Putin's peace overtures. Zelensky, drawing from past experiences, expressed his doubts, citing broken promises. The situation escalated quickly. Accusations flew. Trump accused Zelensky of being ungrateful for U.S. support. He criticized Zelensky's negotiation tactics. The situation reached a boiling point when Trump accused Zelensky of gambling with World War III. Vance chimed in, highlighting the challenges faced by Ukraine in terms of manpower and recruitment. Zelensky retorted, pointing out that war affects everyone, including the U.S. The meeting ended abruptly. Zelensky was asked to leave. The planned joint press conference was scrapped. The deal was left unsigned. The abrupt end to the meeting sent shockwaves through Washington and beyond. A deal meant to solidify ties and support Ukraine's recovery had fallen apart. In its wake, it left questions about the future of U.S.-Ukraine relations and the stability of international efforts to support Ukraine. Fallout from the Oval Office, uncertainty, and discord in U.S.-Ukraine relations. The immediate aftermath of the meeting was a flurry of activity. Trump's advisors, including Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and others, expressed shock and frustration. They were particularly critical of Zelensky's chief advisor, Andriy Yermak. Meanwhile, Zelensky wasted no time. He left for London to meet with European allies. The failed meeting cast a long shadow over the U.S. commitment to Ukraine. The U.S. has been a crucial ally for Ukraine, providing substantial military and financial aid. However, the future of this support is now uncertain. A $3.85 billion military aid package hangs in the balance. It's unclear whether Trump will authorize it. Adding to the uncertainty, House Speaker Mike Johnson indicated a lack of support for further aid from the Republican-controlled Congress. This puts the Biden administration in a difficult position. The situation has exposed cracks in the seemingly unified front of support for Ukraine. The Republican Party's stance on Ukraine has been hardening. This is in stark contrast to the Democrats' continued support. This division within the U.S. government further complicates the situation. It creates uncertainty about the future of U.S. involvement in the region. The breakdown of the meeting and the subsequent reactions underscore the fragility of international relations. The situation highlights how quickly diplomatic efforts can unravel. This leaves a sense of uncertainty and raises concerns about the future of U.S.-Ukraine relations. A divided front: European support for Ukraine and the U.S. stance. The international community watched the events unfold in Washington with a mix of concern and dismay. The meeting's collapse, coupled with the uncertainty surrounding U.S. aid, has created a ripple effect across the globe. European leaders in particular have been vocal in their response to the situation. European leaders, including French President Macron and German Chancellor Scholz, expressed strong support for Zelensky. They condemned Trump's behavior and reaffirmed their commitment to Ukraine. This stands in stark contrast to the Trump administration's position. This difference in opinion highlights the growing rift between the U.S. and its European allies. This divide was further underscored by the UK's decision to grant Ukraine a $2.84 billion loan for military assets. This followed a meeting between Zelensky and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer in London. This move signals a willingness among European nations to step up their support for Ukraine. It also suggests a potential shift in the dynamics of international alliances. The contrasting responses from the US and its European allies highlight a growing divide on the international stage. This division is not merely about financial aid or military support. It reflects differing views on the Ukrainian conflict, the role of diplomacy, and the future of global order. Global stage, uncertain future, diplomatic tremors, and the shifting landscape. The failed meeting between Trump and Zelenskyy is not just a diplomatic mishap, it's a symptom of larger geopolitical shifts and uncertainties. It has exposed the fragility of international relations and the unpredictable nature of U.S. foreign policy under the Trump administration. Zelenskyy, for his part, has walked a diplomatic tightrope. While expressing gratitude for past U.S. support, he acknowledged that the Oval Office exchange was bad for both sides. He maintained that Ukraine acted appropriately. He even suggested that the U.S.-Ukraine relationship could be salvaged. He emphasized the strong historical ties between the two nations. However, the damage has been done. The situation has raised serious concerns about the future direction of U.S. foreign policy. It has also highlighted the challenges in resolving the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The event has even permeated popular culture, becoming fodder for satire on shows like Saturday Night Live. The world is watching closely. The outcome of this situation has far-reaching implications. It could reshape alliances, redefine global power dynamics, and influence the future of international diplomacy. One thing is certain: the road ahead is uncertain and the stakes are incredibly high.